Have you ever been sitting in your dorm room, studying for an exam, or finally laying down to sleep after a long day, only to be interrupted by the blaring horn of a train passing through College Station? If you've lived here for more than a few days, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. That loud, rumbling train that cuts through campus at all hours of the day and night might seem just like a normal part of the town, but to many students, it's a huge disruption. For our group project, we decided to focus on the train that passes through College Station and how it affects students here at Texas A&M. While it might seem like a small annoyance, it actually has a much bigger impact on student life than most people realize. Each person in our group is covering a different angle of the issue. Some of us are looking at how the train affects safety, others are exploring mental health or possible solutions, and I'll be starting off by focusing on one major way the train affects students, our sleep. Because let's be real, when you're in college, sleep is already hard to come by. You've got homework, exams, late night studying sessions, and early morning classes. It's hard enough to get a full night of rest without some huge metal monster blasting its horn outside your window at 3 a.m. And yet, for a lot of us, that's the reality we deal with. So today I want to talk about why the train is such a problem, how it's affecting us as students, what you can do about it right now, and how we can all be a part of pushing for something better in the long run. Let's start with the basics. The train is seriously messing with our sleep. It passes through College Station multiple times a day. That means you might be woken up at 1 a.m., 3 a.m., or right before your alarm goes off. And when that happens, it's not just annoying, it actually damages your sleep cycle. You miss out on a deep sleep, especially REM sleep, which is the kind that helps your brain reset and hold on to stuff you've learned. If you've ever studied for hours and then forgotten everything the next day, poor sleep could be the reason. According to places like the CDC and Harvard School of Public Health, poor sleep is tied to things like higher stress, lower grades, worse mental health, and trouble focusing. And I mean, think about it. How are you supposed to stay awake in an 8 a.m. class after being jolted awake by a train 3 hours earlier? Now, you're maybe thinking, okay, but we're all sleep deprived anyway. What's one more interruption? But that's kind of the problem. College students are already running on low sleep, and the train just pushes it to the next level. If you're always tired, you're more likely to zone out in class, forget what you studied, or even skip class altogether. I've had mornings where I wanted to go to class, but I physically couldn't get up because I was so exhausted. And I'm not alone. Studies show that sleep deprived students have lower GPAs and are more likely to feel overwhelmed or burned out. We are already we already have enough going on. Midterms, jobs, internships, you name it. Why should we also have to fight a train just to get some rest? But here's the good news. There are actually solutions, and they're not impossible. First, they are short-term fixes. Earplugs might sound basic, but they might help. White noise machines or even a fan can drown out the train. Some people use sleep headphones or listen to rain sounds on Spotify. If you share a room or live in an apartment, you can also rearrange your space, move your bed away from windows, hang up blackout curtains or tapestries to help muffle the sound. Even small changes like that can make a big difference. But we can't stop there. We need long term fixes too. One solution that's already being talked about is creating quiet zones. These are areas where the train doesn't blow its horn unless there's an emergency. Some cities already have them. In fact, Texas A&M has approved a quiet zone near campus, but projects like this need to support moving forward. That's where we come in. If students speak up by signing petitions, emailing local reps, or even just talking about it, things can change. The more noise we make about the noise, pun intended, the faster things will get done. So, to wrap it all up, the train is destroying our sleep, which is wrecking our focus, our health, and our grades. But we don't have to just deal with it. There are simple steps we can take right now and long term actions we can support to make sure future students don't have to go through with this. We all deserve a full night's sleep. So let's stop letting the train ruin it, whether it's buying a pair of earplugs or backing a quiet zone petition. We can start making changes that help us and help Aggies who come after us sleep a little better. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Grace Elliott, and this is my speech report. This is my keyword outline. Um, so now that you've heard about how loud and disruptive the train noise in College Station can be, let's talk about what that actually means for us as students when it comes to studying for an exam, you're doing your homework, or even just trying to maybe read a book or something, relax. And as a student, I've definitely had moments where I'm finally getting into the groove of studying and I've got my notes open, my brain's locked in, but then I hear this super distracting, loud, blaring train through my window, and it's really frustrating. But more importantly, it's damaging to our ability to learn and perform well. So, noise doesn't just interrupt you for a second. Research from the Journal of Environmental Psychology shows that background noise, even at the smallest level, can lower our ability to focus and our working memory to make it harder to concentrate on the task you're doing. But when your focus gets broken by the train, it takes your brain several minutes to get back on track. And when that happens multiple times, or maybe just once, or it can happen over and over again, like it does, you could be doing studying or you could be sleeping. It does add up. And the World Health Organization even classifies environmental noise as a serious public health issue because it contributes to stress, poor sleep, and decreased cognitive performance. So, what can we actually do about it? There are a few simple but effective strategies to protect your focus, even when you can't stop the noise, which the train's not going anywhere. So, first, you could try noise canceling headphones or white noise apps. Like I heard My Noise or Noisely can block out those distracting sounds and help you stay in the zone. Second, you can try finding study spots away from the tracks. Even the quiet floors of Evans Library or the Medical Sciences Library are great places to get real focus time. It's very quiet and a little further away. And third, you can use time management strategies like Pomodoro technique. It's a 25-minute focusing technique where you work followed by a short break. And that way, even if there's a train in between, you're already working with a set rhythm. So, according to the American Psychological Association, having control over your study environment, even if it's just through noise or noise masking or time management, significantly boosts productivity and mental clarity. But if you don't take steps to manage those distractions, it can seriously hurt your grades. So, according to the University of California, they found that students exposed to consistent noise while studying, no matter what you're studying for, scored lower on comprehension tests than those in quieter environments that they can really focus in. And that might seem small in the moment, but over a semester, poor focus means rereading, longer assignments, and lower test scores. So, taking small actions to protect your focus now can make a huge, huge difference in your academic success and your confidence in your work and what you're studying. So, here's my message to you: the train is not going to go anywhere, it's going to keep coming, but your success doesn't have to get derailed because of it. So, you need to invest in tools that help you focus. You can seek out better study environments and speak up if noise is affecting your learning because you're here for a reason. You deserve to study in your peace. You're in college to grow, you're in college to learn, and don't let it not affect your ability to do your best. So, thank you. And now to the next
As
person.
an athlete here at Texas A&M, I know how critical rest, focus, and mental clarity are for performance, both in the classroom and on the field. The constant train noise that goes through our campus here in College Station disrupts sleep, increases stress, and affects individuals' mental well-being, making it harder for students to stay at our best. By acknowledging its impact and taking actions to better suit students, we can protect our health and thrive as a community. When studying for an important exam or doing homework assignments, I like to be in a quiet room, one where I can concentrate and think freely without any distractions. And when I don't have that, it can become really hard to succeed and do well in school. Ambient noise impacts our concentration and reduces cognitive performance and other mental tasks. OSHA states that background noise increases stress levels and reduces the amount of cortisol in our bodies. This leads to stress, high blood pressure, coronary disease, ulcers, and headaches. Personally, I like to sleep in an extremely dark room with minimal noise, maybe noise coming from my fan or a white noise machine. But nothing makes me more mad when I wake up from loud noises in the middle of the night or super early in the morning right before my alarm from a loud train coming straight through campus. Poor quality sleep over time has been associated with mood disorders, impaired cognitive function, and overall decreased quality of life. So I want you to think back a few years whenever you were in high school. I know for me, whenever I was doing an assignment or I needed help with a teacher and I just have this constant noise in the back of my head from people talking or just people not doing their work. Or think back to whenever you would go home and you would do homework and your siblings would come into your room or your siblings would be fighting on the stuff. Or think right now. You're in your dorm room and your roommate comes in and is super loud, or there's a party next door. It's hard to concentrate and really hard to focus in on your schoolwork. Noisy environments negatively influence student performance. Articles have stated that memory and non-auditory task performance like reading is also reduced and has a negative effect on problem solving and retention that can last into teenage years and adulthood, which is all caused from loud noises in classrooms. In kids, loud noises could affect learning by increasing hyperactivity and lowering reading sources. So, when I can't focus and my grades are suffering, or I'm not getting enough sleep, I tend to get stressed out and irritated with myself. This all stems from loud noises like the train here in College Station. These loud bursts multiple times a day and at night can affect a student's life, more importantly, their mental health. According to the National Institutes of Health, studies have reported that noise exposure is associated with mental distress or emotional distress and sleep disturbances. Noise pollution is a big problem currently. Noise pollution can be caused from train horns, traffic, people talking, etc. Matteo Castelli from the Noise Project states that noise pollution is connected to an increased risk for cardiovascular and respiratory disease, sleep disturbances, and decreases in athletic performance, anxiety, and depression. The World Health Organization researches about how prolonged noise exposure could lead to elevated stress levels, sleep disturbances, cognitive impairment in children, and even cardiovascular disease, linking the psychological impact to increased rates of anxiety, depression, and psychological distress. Noise-induced annoyance is a common and immediate response to unwanted sounds. It creates a feeling of distraction, discomfort, or even anger. Individual feelings can escalate into chronic stress, a common risk factor for mental health disorders such as anxiety and depression. So again, as a student athlete, I understand, probably more than anybody else, how essential rest, focus, and mental clarity are for succeeding both academically, athletically, just overall in your life. However, the frequent train noise on our campus disrupts our sleep, heightens stress, and takes a toll on our mental health, making it challenging for students to perform at our best. By recognizing these effects, we can prioritize student well-being and create an environment where our community can truly thrive. And then these are the sites I used. Thank you.
If you spend any time at Texas A&M, you know the sound. It's not the yell of a midnight yell or the roar of Kyle Field on game day. It's the relentless booming horn of the train that cuts across Wellborn. Day or night, it disrupts lectures, studying, and even just trying to sleep within a mile radius. The train is part of our tradition here in College Station, but it doesn't have to take over our lives. We can't silence it entirely because there are real effective steps that we as students can take to deal with the noise and regain some of that peace. First, let's talk about the most obvious strategy, blocking out the noise directly. Noise canceling headphones are a game changer. You don't need to drop hundreds of dollars on a premium brand like Bose or Raycon or something. There are solid budget options like Soundcore or Anchor that provide effective noise cancellation for under $60. These can be especially helpful in noisy dorms or libraries near the tracks. If headphones aren't your thing, apps like MyNoise, Noisel, and Headspace offer white noise or calming ambient sounds that can mask the train noise. Regardless of the source, sound masking or dampening is incredibly important, as according to Springer National, 33% of working-age adults and students have had their hearing permanently affected by surrounding noise pollution, like our train. These tools are great for creating a consistent background noise that helps your brain focus and tune out the distractions. Next, let's look at our living spaces. If you live in an apartment or dorm near the train tracks, some basic changes can make a big difference in how much noise gets in. Blackout curtains is a simple fix. It both reduces sound and light, which helps you sleep longer and more comfortably. Rugs, blankets, and other soft materials placed on hard surfaces can help absorb sound and reduce echo. Draft stoppers at the bottom of doors can block the noise coming in from the hallway. According to the Soundproof Cow, placing blankets or specially designed soundproofing blankets on your walls can help reduce the noise caused by the train's vibrations. These solutions are simple and affordable, and they don't really require any tools or technical skills. Just a little bit of effort and consistency. Of course, sometimes the best option is to change your environment altogether. If the train noise is too much in your dorm or apartment, consider heading to quieter places on campus during peak train times. Buildings like the MSC, Evans, and some parts of Wampus are generally further from the tracks and can offer a much calmer study environment. You might also find your own quiet zone, a certain floor of a building, some cafe somewhere, or even a friend's house that's further away from the tracks. You can't always control when the train comes, but you can control where you are when it does. Finally, let's not forget sleep. It's already hard enough to get good rest in college, and the train doesn't make it any easier. But there are ways to protect your sleep from these interruptions. Foam or silicone earplugs are inexpensive and effective. You can buy a pack of 100 of them for about $8 online. You can also try white noise machines or other phone apps that create a stable sound environment. According to a study done by Harvard Health, white noise machines do actually help some people to go to sleep by masking the other noises that may be keeping you up. It's been shown that it lowers your heart rate and respiratory rate, which relaxes you more and makes sleep come easier. Keeping a consistent bedtime and avoiding screens right before bed can help make your sleep deeper and more resilient. So even if the train does pass in the middle of the night, it won't necessarily break your rest. In conclusion, we may not have the power to stop the train, but that doesn't mean we're powerless. By taking steps to block out the noise, soundproof our spaces, study strategically, and protect our sleep, we can drastically reduce how much the train on Wellborn affects our daily lives. It's not about changing the whole town altogether. It's about changing our own habits and environments so that we can thrive despite it. Don't let the train take over your schedule. Take back your peace, one small action at a time.
Imagine this. It's 2 a.m., and you got a big exam the next morning. You've finally fallen asleep after hours of studying, only to be jolted awake by the loud blast of a train horn. The walls shake, your heart races, and suddenly you're wide awake again. If you've ever lived near the tracks in College Station, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. That train, the one that cuts through our town day and night, might seem like something we just have to live with, but today I want to show you why we don't. Just because the train has always been there doesn't mean it has to keep disrupting our lives. We, the students at Texas A&M, have power, and that power starts with using our voices. Let's be clear, this isn't just an inconvenience, this is a quality of life issue. Loud train noise affects thousands of students at Texas A&M. Whether you're living in a dorm near campus or renting an apartment along the tracks, it's hard to escape. The horns aren't just loud, they're piercing. According to the Federal Railroad Administration, train horns can reach up to 110 decibels. That's as loud as a rock concert, right outside your window. Why does this all matter? Because noise at that level, especially when it happens at night, disrupts sleep patterns, increases stress, and makes it harder to concentrate. A report from the World Health Organization found that chronic nighttime noise can lead to serious health issues, including anxiety, high blood pressure, and poor academic performance. This isn't just annoying, it's harmful, and yet most of us are just trying to ignore it. Students, however, have the power to make change. And here's the good news, we're not powerless. College towns across the country have to take action. For example, in 2022, students at the University of Illinois organized a petition and social media campaign that pushed the city to establish quiet zones, areas where train conductors don't blow their horns at crossings. That effort started with student complaints and ended with real change. So why not here? We already have the tools. Social media lets us share our stories and experiences instantly. Student organizations give us a platform to organize, and the Student Senate represents our voice on campus. And we can bring this issue to them. We can even write to local officials and university leaders. If enough students speak up, loudly and clearly, we can push our solutions. Quiet zones, better scheduling, noise barriers, or even university investment in soundproofing housing near the tracks. Change doesn't always require a protest. Sometimes it just takes enough people saying, hey, this is a problem and we need to fix it. Now you might be thinking, sure, this sounds good, but what can I really do? Honestly, you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be a student body president. All you need to do is care and take one small step. Post a story on Instagram about how the train affected your sleep last night. Maybe join a student org that focuses on community engagement. Write a short email to student leaders or city council members, or start a petition. Even just a few dozen signatures shows people care. According to the American Council on Education, nearly 20% of recent campus policy changes were driven by student advocacy. That's proof that speaking up works, and when enough students do it together, it becomes a movement. The train that goes through College Station might seem like something we just have to live with. It's loud, it's distracting, and it affects a lot of us, especially when we're trying to sleep or study. But just because it's always been there doesn't mean we can't do something about it. Students have a voice, and that matters. You don't have to be an expert to make a difference. Speaking up, sharing your story, posting on social media, talking to student organizations, or even writing to campus leaders are small steps. But they can lead to real change. Other college towns have taken action, and we can too. Change starts when people care enough to act. So I'm asking you to use your voice. Talk about how the train affects you, support each other, and push for better solutions. If enough of us speak up, we can make our campus a more peaceful and productive place for everyone. Because real change doesn't just happen, it starts with us. Thank you.